In Q4 of 2007, Apple sold $4 billion in iPods. Think about that. And remember that time. That was like the reinvention of Apple, right? The whole music store was going on. 42% of their total revenues. At the exact same time, they launched the iPhone. And that's when they were selling 22 million units of iPods. In 6 years, Apple was selling 170 million iPhones, 150 million iPhones, and 71 million iPads. And the point is, they had such a great business going on with the iPod. Imagine the meetings that happened in order to make the decision to cannibalize the iPod, because they knew that was going to happen, right? And here you have a product that's 42% of your company's income and is absolutely killing it, and you're going to cannibalize it. That's pretty, that takes, well, a word I'm thinking of, guts. Let's call it guts, another 4-letter word. So at Oracle, and these strategies obviously take time to develop, but this is a press release from obviously June of 2012. Our fiscal year runs from June 1st through May 31st. So I'm not going to read the thing, but you can look at it and say, that defines a pretty damn good year. Okay? We usually start reviewing how we're in planning for the following fiscal year around the January, at the very, very highest level, January timeframe. The prior January, we were already talking about transforming our sales organization with these kind of results. So the question is, would you have the courage to transform your organization with these kind of results? Right? It's kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, sort of. But can you look beyond and see what's going on and make that big, big decision? Because that's a huge bet, right? That's a career maker or a career breaker. So I thought I would share with you kind of the story of what we did, because we did do a rather large transformation in June of 2012. Things were really changing, right? Things were good, but things were really changing. They were changing in the market, right? So, and I can't remember who mentioned it earlier, but the whole concept of people were now essentially making, the number I had was 57%, the number he had was 60%, but making 60% of their buying decision before engaging with the company or with companies that they were going to consider. That's unbelievable. I mean, 60%. What does that do to change a sales rep's or a sales organization's process? Because of that, sales is really now expected to come in and sort of push boundaries and provide new ways of thinking around their area of expertise. No longer is it just to follow the process. And decisions were really being made in cloud time, right? I mean, the cloud has got to be the biggest buzzword in business going, almost to the point where it makes you ill when you hear it. But nonetheless, it is providing a significant change to the world. And what it's really done is it's created a distributed empowerment across all lines of businesses, in all organizations. And what does that mean? That means if I'm a sales manager and I don't like the tools that are being provided to me, and I have an American Express card, I can go talk to some company who does what I want them to do, and I can get a tool for my people. So I, as a line of business manager or VP, I am now empowered, which is a scary, scary thing for the folks in an organization that care about all of the software that companies buy and all the tools that they use. But for a manager, I know I can go out and get what I want and make my people effective. Okay? So in theory, one of our co-presidents, Safra Katz, called this, there's a jailbreak amongst business executives. Right? They are deciding, I'm going to go get the tool. I don't care what my CIO says. We'll worry about that later, and we're going to make our organization effective with the right tools for the job. Then there was internal changes, right? Oracle as a corporation has been very, very acquisitive over probably the last 10 years. I would say we've purchased at least 100 companies over the last 10 years for all facets of our business, whether it's the business application group or the other technology groups. But what that's done is it's created a huge cloud portfolio that we never had. And we were this traditional sales organization, right? Where, okay, there was an identified need. We'd come in and, okay, you got an identified need, and we'd start this whole process. We used to call it, I remember using the term a lot, we would try and suck the oxygen out of the sales cycle. We would try and create so many events within a sales process that the competitors never had time to meet. But think about that. Think of the level of engagement that entails from a prospect's perspective in the line of business, and think of how long and how complicated that is. That's, when you're talking cloud solutions and you're talking to the line of business executives, they're looking at you like, bullshit. You know what? That ain't happening. So, we had to make that transformation. And our organization was kind of set up a little bit like that, right? So obviously with all of these cloud solutions and talking to the line of business, meaning sales, meaning marketing, meaning VPs of service, VPs of transportation, all around the business, we had a lot of generalists, right? We went in, we talked to the CIO, because everything went through the CIO, right? IT was a clearinghouse for all IT projects. And then we would bring in the Oracle team, right? Anybody who knows Oracle, there's this concept of the Oracle bus, right? We'd bring in all the people. And I don't view the bus as a bad thing, because I think Oracle has a lot of smart people, and we're just trying to get the smart people about that opportunity to be on that opportunity so we can be successful. But that sales model was becoming too narrow, right? We could not sell singularly just to the IT organization, right? So we had to begin to think differently. So here I am. That was me. Why I put this in here, I'm not sure, but I must have been in a mood one day. That's my badge when I started at Oracle. I started in 1997, but they wanted to give me some time before they invested in a badge for me. So that's my badge. That's who I am. So October 97 is when I joined Oracle. I've been selling for 33 years. I grew up in Concord, Mass. Those 5 numbers are the ages of my children. The 2 is the number of marriages that they have. The 1 is the time I'm going to get it right, hopefully. So that's a little bit about me. But what keeps me awake at night with my sales organization, I head up our Salesforce automation, cloud Salesforce automation. We call it the Sales Cloud. We're really catchy at Oracle. We come up with really catchy names, Sales Cloud. We think about that a lot. There's probably a lot of meetings went on to come up with Sales Cloud. And if it's service, what do you think that is? Service Cloud? Excellent. What about marketing? Marketing Cloud. Very good. You guys are good. Good. But so I head up our Sales Cloud specialty team for North America. But what keeps me up at night are really these 3 things, right? Is my coverage model still applicable? Am I still aligned with the market, right? Is my demand generation strategy, right? We all need pipeline. I mean, our organization, we work on 3 to 4x current quarter and future quarter pipeline based on to quota. right? So simple math, if I've got a 100K quota, I need 300 to 400K of pipeline for that quarter. You know, is our demand gen strategy still effective based on the new market? And then sales execution. Based on how people are buying, is our sales process still relevant? Or are we wasting our salespeople's time and are we wasting our potential prospects' time? So these are the things I'm thinking about in our transformation. NAA in 2012. What NAA is North American Application. That's the broader group that I'm part of. It's about a $1 billion annual sales organization. It sells all of the business applications in Oracle's portfolio. So back in 2012 and before, I mean, we were highly successful, right? We were, as you saw from the press release, things were going pretty well. So we had a team of 1,500 or so salespeople that were, for the most part, killing it on an annual basis, right? The challenge was we were focused on selling all of our products through the single lens of one salesperson with a bunch of people behind them, right? And one technology executive, the CIO, with a bunch of people behind him or her. If you think about it, with all of these cloud solutions and the fact that really line of business executives are making those decisions, this model is destined to fail. Right? So if we didn't recognize that at the point in time, who knows where we'd be today. So the issue, right, I might have just covered those, but the issue is, so think about it. The world's changing. We bought all these companies. A lot of them, probably the majority of them, are in some level or are cloud solutions, right? So the line of business is buying those, and we're sitting with the CIO. And chances are the line of business guy and the CIO aren't having lunch together on a daily basis, probably not going out for drinks a lot, because the CIO is he's sort of the gatekeeper and the broad strategist. So he's saying, no, we got to do the process. If I'm a sales guy, listen, I want the solution. I want it now, right? It was the solution I wanted that Oracle didn't provide for my reps. I talked to the guy, I don't know, last Tuesday. We trained our folks or presented to our folks on Thursday, and I wanted it live on Monday. I don't want to go through this big thing. Right? And I don't think that's way off from what people think. So we also had so our coverage was off. Our specialization was off. Our application sales manager is what we called it at the time, couldn't have a conversation with the VP of sales about the value that our Sales Cloud can provide, or the VP of customer service about the value that our Service Cloud could provide, and so on and so forth. Right? And when you're at the line of business level, they're not looking for you to order the cookies for the meeting, right? And then bring a bunch of other people in. They want you to have relevant and meaningful insight to how you can help their business. And we just weren't set up that way. And we also didn't have exposure to the line of business. We talked to one of the biggest challenges Oracle has had is that every single CIO that we did business with would say to us, we want a single point of contact. We don't want your team, around, calling all the executives. Our executives don't want to be called. They want you to come through me, right? So traditionally, that's kind of where we were. How do you break that? You got a guy who's giving you a lot of business, right? I mean, it's not uncommon in larger accounts where the CIO knows he's doing business with Oracle. He sits down with his IT, he or she sits down with their IT budget and says, hey, I got, X dollars earmarked for you this year. Let's sit down and put a plan together on how I get the most value for those dollars. Right? So I don't want to mess with that as a company, but I also realize that there's a lot of other business going on out in the lines of business. So for us, it was kind of like ready, set, go. I mean, this was not a, the other interesting thing about Oracle is you wouldn't think we're cyclical, but I think we're cyclical by the nature of our fiscal year. We do minimally 44% of our business in our final quarter. So March, which is now, through May, Oracle's doing 44% of our business for the full year. It's madness. And, it's not madness now. It's actually not that crazy in April. But in May, it's a mess. So point being, okay, so we've got, all of our executives are they're doing two things that quarter in 2012, whipping us to get all the results we got to be able to have that press release we did. Plus, they know there's an underlying strategy change, right? A transformation that's going to go on. I mean, it is the strangest thing when you go from May 31st at Oracle, like you're up until 3 in the morning, at least if you live in the East Coast, because the stinking West Coast is 3 hours behind, and that doesn't make me happy. But all of a sudden, it's June 1st, and it's like everything in the world stopped, right? So it's just amazing. So, except that year, then all the announcements came down, right? And it took a few days, but it was absolutely crazy. Like, we were like, okay, let's go. So what did we change? We actually doubled our sales force. So, and this is inside sales and outside sales. So we have a relatively large inside sales organization. There's 3 hubs that we have nationally: Boston, Minneapolis, and San Francisco. And then obviously we have salespeople all over the country. Most are working out of their houses in home office. So we doubled the sales organization. Like, okay, guess what, guys? June 1st, get hired up. My organization's relatively small. I have 30 folks. So they said, or at the time I had 18. So they said, guess what? You got to go to 30. So I got to find 12 guys or girls, right? That, relatively speaking, that's a lot. That's 2/3 of what I had on staff. I've got to hire that many more and figure out where the heck I'm going to put them. We realigned to the business. So we took our organization, which was basically larger accounts. We were industry-based. Then once you got to a certain level, we were named account-based. So there are like 3 tiers. So let's call it, just for sake of example, let's say it was $5 billion in annual revenue and above. Those were industry-based. $500 million in annual revenue to $5 billion. Those are named account-based. And under that is all geography-based. We took all that and said, okay, we're going line of business. That's scary, right? We're taking people who might be really, really good at selling financials in manufacturing, in transportation, or whatever it is. Hey, congratulations, you're the Sales Cloud guy. So, I mean, we try not to, but when you don't have the specialization, you need to put people in there who you think have the foundation and the brains to be able to get there. And that was tough. So overnight, generalist became specialist. Right? And this was not just the reps. This was like, hey, guess what? I know you ran enterprise sales in the East, Joe Blow. But guess what? Now you're running sales automation for North America. It was a huge undertaking. So it basically took the organization and flipped it on its head. So we had, when you do this, obviously, you kind of have some guiding principles. And for to put this together, I had it's embarrassing because it really was a 15-minute conversation with our senior VP. But to her, that's like an hour. So I had an hour-long conversation with our senior VP of sales. And for me, it was like 3 minutes, and I was, at some point I was like, okay, don't say anything stupid because she could fire you. So we talked about some guiding principles. Everybody's accountable, right? Nobody's going to be, don't let anybody hide behind this transformation. Oh, I was the East guy for ERP, and now I'm the national guy for sales automation. I got to hire all these. You making your number, right? You got to be accountable. Knowledge wins, right? So it was really critical that we figured out how to get everybody who was in these new disciplines as smart as we possibly can. And at the time it was SaaS. Now nobody really knows what SaaS is, but it was what cloud was. But cloud's much more cooler because you can make those puffy things on slides. And how do you make anything graphical about SaaS? You can't. You just have to say SaaS. But SaaS is not a four-letter word. We were been in Oracle 16 years. To get Oracle to think about SaaS has been an incredible thing. Because, it's been really hard, and that's not a criticism of Oracle, but if you think about it as an organization, we've been so successful that it's like, why are we doing the SaaS thing again? Why would we want to change? So it's been really challenging to get sort of the folks like me who are 10 to 20 years at Oracle to change. So we had to say, hey, it's not a four-letter word. We've been buying a lot of companies, and that's the way they go to market. That's the way their customers consume the product. Expect the unexpected. Be ready, right? Be on the balls of your feet, right? Make sure your feet are aligned properly. Make sure your hips are aligned right. Get your hands in the right position so you're ready to move one way or the other. We can't tell you which way this is going to go, but if you're ready to go, you can go left, right, forwards, or backwards. And I meant to put patiently impatient, right? But realize that this has got to happen like now. We're fortunate enough because of that cyclical nature, the summer months, June, July, and August, that's about 13% of our total business. But Wall Street doesn't give, they want the number delivered. The stockholders want the number delivered. If you're a stockholder, you say, hey, yeah, sorry, we missed it because we just did this big transformation. They don't give a shit. They want you to deliver. We had to deliver. So we had to be patiently impatient with the organizations, with people in their positions, with hiring, all of this. And the whole fact that teamwork wins, right? I think one of the great values of Oracle is we have a lot of people, we have people that have tremendous experience. We have a full sales consulting organization behind us who really understands the nitty-gritty of the product, what it does and the value that it can provide to our customer. Those folks come from business, right? They've had business experience. So, point is, we had to make sure we were extra diligent in getting the right people on the right opportunities as we were going through this huge, huge learning, okay? So what were some of the key challenges? And I already mentioned the first one, right? We had so many people. Our GVPs, those are group vice presidents heading up groups. They've been around Oracle for a long time. And I don't know if it surprises people that people actually can stay at Oracle for 16 years, but if it does, there's a lot of us around. But those are the folks saying, what? I just hit 130% of my number. I just built the greatest sales team I'm so proud of, I'm so happy with. I have next year all figured out. And we threw all the balls up in the air, right? So everybody, why are you messing with success? Reps, oh my God, I know that XYZ Corporation is going to spend $3 million on my stuff next year. All I got to do is go through the process and not step on myself. We had to figure out a way to establish a connection with the business, the line of business buyer, without alienating IT. And in my world, right, my biggest competitor is Salesforce, okay? Biggest competitor. I wake up every day, I'm trying to figure out a way that we can compete better against Salesforce. And I think we're doing that. However, when I walk in a company and I say I'm from Oracle, I believe there's a gravitational pull to IT, right? If I'm Salesforce is an example. If I'm a cloud company, so let's use Salesforce. I'm from Salesforce, I walk in a company, oh, you should go talk to the VP of Sales. So I've got the challenge of saying, all right, I got to go make myself relevant to the VP of Sales, VP of Service, VP of Marketing, whoever it is. That's big, right? That's a huge, huge undertaking. And you can't just say, wait, hey, no, we just switched everything to line of business. You need to talk to me now. It's like, what? Go talk to IT. You're Oracle. Get away from me, right? I use your ERP. Don't talk to me. And then, of course, hire, train, and empower 1,000 new people. I mean, just take the top 2 bullets and get rid of those. That's a huge, huge undertaking. Huge. So certainly not with challenges. So how do we support the change? We created the Oracle Sales Academy, right? I mean, thank God Oracle has a lot of resources, a lot of people. One of the things I'm always impressed with Oracle is I'm amazed, given the size of the organization, how quickly we can change. So we created, and I got to speed up a little bit here, but we created Oracle Sales Academy. Okay, so we created curriculum for our new people, and then we had to create, obviously, the curriculum for our existing people that changed disciplines, that have that foundational knowledge of Oracle, which is hugely important, and then just get them to be expert on the discipline that they were part of. Because people were buying differently, we had to adapt to that, right? And Scott before me talked about this whole new connection, right, between marketing and sales, because people were buying, people are really looking, sort of making decisions earlier on in the pipeline or in the sales funnel, right? So we had to make sure, Eloqua is our marketing cloud. We had to make sure that we changed how we were using Eloqua within Oracle, that we were getting the right information to the market. So when people were making those decisions, 60% of those decisions, we were giving them the right information, right? We had to make sure we gave our prospects the ability to look at our stuff. Just, hey, take a look at it. All I want to do is look. I either want to, you know what I want to do? I want to look at it. Or, you know what? I just want a video. Or I just want a video of a customer. Or give me some stuff I can look at online, print off, take home, or just save as a PDF. We had to make sure we did that. And then we also had to make sure that our salespeople were no longer the guys that organized meetings, printed agendas, and ordered cookies, but they were the guys that actually could go out and say, hey, you know what? Let me show you how I use this. So immediately 2,500 iPads got bought. Apple liked that. But we had to provide the training in order to get our salespeople to essentially be able to give a frontline executive demo on our product if and when it was appropriate. We bought 2,500 iPads. We also had to become a heck of a lot more social internally or collaborative internally. So we have our own collaboration tool. A lot of people now potentially on deals. So everybody's part of the conversation. Conversation happening about deal strategy and all that. All of that's in our own tool that's connected to our own CRM system. And then finally, we had to become more social as a corporation, right? We had to look at Oracle.com and realize, you know what, this just isn't for technologists anymore. Let's see can a VP of sales come in here and effectively navigate and get to the information they want, or can they not, right? What's our YouTube presence? Where are we on Twitter? What do we do with Facebook? Because that's where those folks are, day in and day out. So some lessons learned. Communicate, communicate, communicate. And Joanne Olson, who's our Senior VP of Sales, she's terrific, really. She kind of tells you what she thinks, which is nice. which goes to the second bullet, straight talk, no BS. So she would just come on and make sure that, we would have like town hall meetings that were available almost on a monthly basis for the first quarter, just to make sure all the salespeople really understood where things were, what their responsibilities, okay? And that it's a journey, right? That this isn't going to happen overnight. Yes, you have to be accountable, but just be a little patient, right? And don't wait, right? I mean, think about who after that press release, who would say, "Oh, Oracle should have definitely changed their whole sales force," the transform their whole sales force. Who would say that? You could easily get away with not doing anything. So the results: pipeline growth up double-digit percentages, win rates are up double-digit percentages, and year-over-year growth is up. Now we're 7 quarters, is that right? Yeah, 7 quarters in, end of February. So we're still early when this type of transformation. But year over year, we were up. And I think what's really important is the investment in the transformation has funded itself. So everything that it cost us to make this change happen, we've already gotten that back in the first 3 bullets here. So, it's been a really, really successful transformation for us. So the net is, this is my last slide, what we have is a much more nimble, much more collaborative, much more results-oriented organization, focused on the line of business, adapting to how buyers are buying now, and how, what's relevant and what's important to the line of business. So thank you.